What inputs and data sources do you use in order to make informed decisions?
Yeah. So first of all, it's, I would think about it as it's just everything and more, right? And you can't have it's strategic data, it's tactical data. I would like to start though with, my fundamental premise is that, I've spoken to leaders of a lot of companies who recognize data is incredibly important to going into a transformation. And they have this mindset that they're going to quote fix their data first, right? And in my experience, you never are able to move on, right? You if your goal is to fix your data and you're actually not using your data, you're going to find it very, very hard. Now, it doesn't say you have to have a data strategy, right? So you need to have designed a data strategy. You have to have started putting that component in place. And by a data strategy, I mean it's not databases and Excel spreadsheets. It's some of the more advanced tools, capabilities. I think of companies like Snowflake, right? Where you really think about like, well, where are you going to transact, right? Are you going to transact in the cloud, or are you going to transact back in the factory or in your ERP? So you've got to have that strategy. But my opinion is you've got to get working on putting those solutions in place. And as you do them, you fix the data you need for that first. And some people will say, well, I hear the garbage in, garbage out. Well, sure. That's true. But you have garbage today, you have garbage in, garbage out, and it's really, really slow, right? Now and so by the time you get through that cycle time, you get to the end, only then do you realize you had bad data. So it takes you a really long time to find out that your data was wrong and you're doing the wrong thing. However, if you think about it, let's say I'm going to put in an automated business process, right? Well, first of all, my feedback loop is so much quicker. So instead of something taking days, it now takes me an hour. Well, all of this, I have real-time feedback that my data wasn't correct. And so therefore I can jump on it, I can fix it, I can really focus on the data that I'm needing for that overall transaction. So my first advice when you think about overall data is get started on what you're doing, right? Have a data strategy. Be started in that direction. So you're not, integrating things that you're gonna have to tear apart. But your data doesn't have to be perfect, right? You're going to be doing better things with your bad data than you are today. You're going to be doing it faster. So start with that. But when I talk about data, people, again, this is after several decades of SAP and Oracle and everything ERP being the definition of supply chain. So that you think about the data in your supply chain, in your ERP. Absolutely, right? Data in your ERP is critical. It's critical for for real time data, where the product is in production, and so that's important. But there's so much more to that. So if I was using the example, we were talking about disruption before. First of all, strategic data, right? I need to understand. I have to have mapped out in my data. First of all, what is my supply chain? What does it look like? Not just the first tier, it's the second tier, the third tier, the fourth tier. I have to start building that out. Because if I want to see something that's happening at, an event happens in the fourth tier of the supply chain, and I want to predict what it's going to do to me, if I don't have some sort of a map that links that, right? I'm going to miss it. So you have to have that kind of hierarchy. Your hierarchy is built out in your supply chain. You have to know things like the relationship between your gross margin of your product, relationship on the price of a purchasing item. What are the market forecasts for that for that commodity, right? Not just in terms of worldwide consumption and demand, but also demand and supply, but also for pricing. You have to be able to know what are the strategic levers. Your category strategy is part of a lot of companies are using AI-enabled category strategies so they can refresh their category strategies, real time, as opposed to, in the old days, you refresh your category strategy, hopefully every year, but, at least every
Right.
2 years. Market's moving too fast. So you need that tethered in.
Right.
What about your negotiating strategy, right? Once you have a category strategy, why would that not be linked to your negotiating strategy or in your playbook and your toolkit, right? That all becomes your universe of data. You've got to be able to triage something. Back to what I was talking about, like, well, how much is that material on gross margin, or how much volume do I sell of that? What are the sales for that item? So then I know that that problem's bigger than another problem. So when you think about data, it's very holistic, very, very holistic, right? And it's real time, it's strategic data, it's tactical data, it's all of it. But I'm starting with the premise that I said at the beginning: you don't have to have it all, and it doesn't have to be perfect for you to get started. Get
Exactly.
started, and your data will follow you. And then each step of the way, you're going to improve.
Yeah, I love it. I just love it. I think it's such a brilliant advice because many companies, and including companies that we work with, I can tell you that there's always this weird tension between just go ahead, implement the solution, let's see AI and machine learning, let's see how things look, and then there's this weird tension. Then they want to fix the data first. They want data cleansing, and sure, absolutely. But some organizations really just wait for to see perfection. And data, normally, from my experience, is very messy to begin with. And I totally agree with you. Just get started and clean your data while you're at it. I mean, just don't waste any time because regardless, you're taking decisions based on this specific data, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference? Just do
Yep,
it in a higher
exactly,
level, right?
exactly. You're already using bad data. You can't make
It's
it
not
any
that you're
worse.
saying, no, I have bad data and I have the good data, and I work only with the good data. That's not the situation. So
Mhm.
just take it as an advantage or as an opportunity to improve your performance. Just that simple.